Welcome. Welcome, beautiful souls. Thank you so much for tuning in whenever you do, from wherever you are. I'm going to go in after my little introductory to myself. I'm awakening this kind of sense of self within myself that it helps, right? So it's kind of like that. Exerting our power in our now space with our heightened level of evolutionary wisdom in this namaste moment in time. Welcome. I am Enchantress, the Witch Utopian, Enchantress the Babbler too, right? I am Enchantress the Babbler on YouTube. I am Enchantress the Babbler on Anchor and Spotify, my podcast as well. To go check that out as well. You type in Enchantress the Babbler, and that's I. I'm also on Instagram at Enchantress, ENCHANTRESS. I'm very active over there. Also Witchy Utopian on Instagram too. It's a private page right now. And then also Witchy Utopian on TikTok. Right, beautiful. I also share in my bio as well, and oftentimes when I get to do my descriptions, I know there's an easy set template I can follow to do the things that I do, but writer, expressionist, evolutionist is I, and I like to be in my now energies, in my now time, and templates are great for certain things, right? But for the kind of freestyle artist, I don't like labels. Again, I'm only speaking in a human language for us to be able to speak to one another on and understand one another in our own individualism or whatever. I don't do labels and things like that. I am an infinite evolutionary being. That means I am all things, no things, everything, nothing, in my own awakening of an experience in this now space and time, right? Whatever this reality is, right? So, I'm many things. I'm a mood within a moon cycle, okay? Yeah, that is my quote for life. Right, so, people are being mindful of their bites. Even if, we're going to only focus. I'm only going to speak moving forward, and I'm just going to reestablish this here in this page of stage, because if you're new here, you don't know any of my other videos and all this kind of stuff. I'm just my own, how I am, you don't know me. So I'm always going to try to be mindful now and thoughtful towards those that may not know what the fudge I'm talking about with certain things and things like that, and just assume my position of explanations. And I am Enchantress the Babbler, and so if you're not with babbles, which is what I do because I'm a channeler, that's how I do artistic too, because poetic desire, I'm a stream for life, okay? It just happens naturally, and I just let it flow, you know what I mean? Let me flow cosmic, you see. Throat chakra clearing. You will receive a lot of different activations and clearings whenever you come visit the station of sacred space created here for you, no matter your belief systems and what you do and why you're here. Because if you are new here, please understand that I have a mixed crowd for many different reasons. And then, blah. So, but when I'm going to speak in this evolutionary sense, although I have a mixed crowd, because I have to be mindful of my time and the message and stuff like that, because there are others that might come here for their own reasons, and although seeds we are, as we breed, we seed, right? No matter what is their evolutionary reason or being, many of them are not here to learn, right? Too. And then there are often many that are, well, I heard Because some are here to learn, right? So they can take from you too, right? Without sneakily, right? Yeah. We are infinite beings. Nothing is mine. Thank you. You know everything. So, when I am speaking evolutionary, I'm only going to speak to those that are here for that evolutionary purpose when I'm addressing, because then because of the mixed crowd, and I'm sensitive to the mixed crowd energies too, like I can pick up on that too, I sometimes often go on a split of the positive message because there's a mixed crowd, right? And so I have to explain. Right now I'm on a time constraint, and so I'm trying to just stick to the evolutionary game for this. It's mana for your whole mind, body, heart, and soul. That's what this is here. Okay? Always. Are we clear? So yeah, so there's no one way that I do anything. I do what I do, how I do. I wasn't even planning on recording, and I received it. I listened. I'm like, oh yeah, I took a little time to get on here because I was doing other things too, and I gotta get going. So I'm just being mindful of the time. Let me be mindful of the time. So yeah, so I'm so proud of the energies that I am addressing at this moment in time in space, right? Because you're doing the work. You're doing the work. And this energy of right now is a transform. So if you watch my last video, I know I spoke about it and I still haven't done all the detailings of the description because I love to timestamp for. My timestamp is not, it's not like a pick a card timestamp. My timestamp is for all of those energies that do come, that because I am the babbler and they love the Manna and all that kind of things, it is a lot to take me in entirety. Unless, like those that watch, even right, like let's say 2 hour video from front to back, from start to finish, y'all might even be deeper than me because I don't even know if me with my like squirrel attention span to a lot of kind of things, even though I am this evolutionary being that channels, I'm a conduit. I am right, that's like I'm a messenger or a conduit for messages. Like so this is my vessel, right? No, you gotta watch it too. Because I just had a whole stream of people and faces, even some that I don't even know, like just taking notes to apply their own work, thinking that's going to be the key to their prosperity. That's deeper than that. That's superficial. Taking somebody's ideas and spinning it off as yours and never giving credit or things like, see what I mean about addressing the other team? Well, whatever. Anyways, it is what it is, right? Does not make you better, even if it makes you money in the beginning or makes you more money, like, you know, like whatever. It's a superficial, distorted view. You're not stealing anything from anyone, even though on a superficial layer it can seem like that, even to the person that experiences the injustice. Like, yeah. Snake. Okay. But it also works on the subject to know it's divine inspiration and creation. It's unique, it's eccentric, it's eclectic, right? It's vast, and you're infinite. And even if you create something and someone goes and just duplicates it or replicates it, it's, as in, you know, they say, oh, it's a, you know, somebody mimicking or copying you is a form of flattery or things like that. And, you know, that's not taking a hairstyle and copying it, or a style of dress and stuff like that, or, you know, a way of speaking, being, or whatever. Yeah, that's flattering. It could be annoying to some people. But when you straight coming in for the kill, what's she making now? Oh, but then, like, you know, and like this, and, or, well, what is she talking about now? Okay, I'm gonna talk about this. Like, you're doing shit like that. And although you might be good at it, and your message from the divine inspiration that you receive from the muse that you love to deny, right? And you see how it works, we're all being used. You know, if you want to look at it like that. It's like, again, going with the perceptions of people and where they are in their evolutionary growth, is the cup half empty or full? You know, perspective. And so what's offensive, or what can be perceived offensive about the energy, is the lack there of acknowledgement received, right? Which is what we all at the end are seeking in some kind of way, but the only way out is in. You know what I'm saying? So even these replicated, manufactured, superficial creations that are copied in retrospect to one's career, work, or whatever, because everything that we have and we learn, even in all fields, is like, I took art history in college and I loved art history, right? One of the many things I studied. I loved it, and I also took in college the history of religion too. And I love that, right? And so if we look at the conditioning and cycling of life and time, and if you think about different even countries against and one another, or, you know, forming alliances, or whatever the case may be, everything that has been created to this date has been a copy of something else, somebody else's inspiration, creativity, or whatever, and then taken from there, grown or replicated, or grown and taken further or replicated. So those that lack inspiration and creativity will replicate, duplicate. Those that receive divine inspiration and that kind of guidance, I don't need to duplicate. Like, you know, I'm inspired by many people. There'll be things that I see that others create. I don't have any desire to do what they're doing. I don't want to do what anybody else is doing except what I'm doing, and when I'm trying to figure out about what it is I'm doing. And I'm perfectly content with that. Like, you know, but I can see something that somebody else is doing that inspires something in me to take with that, with what I see, and create something, even if it's similar. Or I really don't do that. I'm just giving an example because I really don't look to other things except Pinterest or, you know, Google. If anything, if ever there needs something, and it's never for inspiration, I'm looking for something that I see in my mind, and I'm now trying to find something similar or like it to get the what I'm being shown, the detailing part now. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's never like, oh, let me see what's out there so that I can make. Nah, I'm what's out there. I want to be made, right? That's the difference between these those in my 50/50s. Those that you guys are evolutionary, y'all the visionary. Y'all see it first. Y'all do it first. And then you're going to have your 50/50 mix of those divinely inspired by you, that it inspires something more within them, right? That they're inspired by you. And then you got the others that are just taking notes, acting like you ain't shit. You don't exist. I don't even know you. I don't even pay attention to you. Huh? I don't even follow you either. Like social media. Or, you know, whatever the case may be. Pride comes before the big fall. Sometimes I could take a mofo motherfucking many life cycles before that fall hits. So don't be waiting on that shit for somebody else because that ain't got nothing to do with you. Maybe people wait around the Karens, right? I know. With the reference to the Karen name, like, waiting. When is that part? I'm waiting for that fall from the part. Come, I burned a few candles. I went to somebody. The witch doctor said. No witch doctor is gonna do any kind of voodoo. There's a healer names, but there's people that work that way, in that kind of way. I used to growing up, like I've always, like I said, like if you know anything about what I was doing, I don't know life without spirituality. The outside world information that I have received throughout my span, of course, of this lifetime, right? Hold on. I now have to keep my phone the sound on because we're cutting it with time, and so I'm being mindful. You know, um, anyway, what was I saying? What was I saying? No, literally, what was I saying? Shit. Woo, but we gotta move on. So, I don't know, but we're just gonna go with the flow. But I know the subject, like, you know what I mean? I just don't remember exactly where on that subject I was. You know what I'm saying? But it'll come back. Right? So we're shifting even more so now. I'm gonna go with the message. Thanks. Right? Never mind who's who and what's what when they're here. Right? We each have our role to do and what we do to play here, right? Oh, that's what I'm saying. I was gonna go into a story about when I was younger here. And spirituality and all that kind of stuff. That I don't know life without it. Like I've sought answers outside of myself for what was already occurring in one and also without. Like I was like, ah! Like when, like I'm an 80s baby, so during those times I was a huge horror fanatic, movie fanatic too, right? So for me, what intensified a lot of these scary kind of movies and things like that was because of the real life shit that was going down, like, for me. That was like, I believe, right? And so, my grandma would tell you, she, right, so, wisdom, thanks. Um, like my grandma would tell you too, like I literally used to have her as tough as I was, and that's what she would laugh at. She'd be like, "You're so tough, right? And here you are, chicken." And I'm like, "Walk in front of us, go up ahead. Is everything clear?" Like literally, because it's a two-family home, right? And we lived upstairs, and so at night, my dad was just here, and we were going to bed, she was sending us to bed. We were afraid to go upstairs by ourselves. And so we would have my grandmother go ahead of us first. And, imagine two kids. Me and my sister were like, go up. You heard something so go upstairs. And she would be cracking up going up the stairs because at this point in life for my grandmother, we bumped heads. Not now, But I'm just saying back then, like, we had a war. I had a war with my grandmother, especially after my mother passed away. Okay, I was at war with my whole family from the age 9 and up. There was some that I wasn't at war with, but the main characters, we was at war. So hold on. All right. All right. So sorry. Yeah, I had to listen. So anyways, memories. But anyways, during that time, my grandmother found it humorous that I, the big black sheep, tough guy, was frightened. But and she would find humor in torturing us a little bit, and like, no, go upstairs, face down. And I'm like, no, no. Anybody and everybody to this day that has ever been to this house growing up will tell you that that place is haunted. Everybody, even non-believers, they would have always something that they had seen or like witnessed or felt or something that, and it's still my childhood home. My grandparents still live there. That's their home. And you know, I made peace with those peace. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, a highly activated portal where I grew up. Sorry, I'm working. All right, so sorry. Okay, so so anyways, so like, let's say like now I'm in my transformed state, right? But to still be afraid to go upstairs by myself would be ridiculous, sort of, right? Even though I'm at a different platform of transformation of consciousness and understanding, it would be ridiculous, right? But let's say I don't see that ridiculousness still, the human, right? Not the highest self and not the evolved, transformed thing, the whole, right? Like the human still has been conditioned for such a long time to behave and act in such a type of way that, you know, the more consciousness you are awakening to your sense of self, and you know, in all honesty, like, it's just, you know what, you like, I tell people all the time, like, what you do, that's on you, right? You can lie to me, not that you can't, but somebody else, you can lie to somebody else. But the advice I always give with that lie of what with the person, I'm like, listen, do you, but don't lie to yourself. You want to lie to her, you want to lie to him, you want to lie to them, you want to whatever, but please make sure that you're not lying to yourself. You'll deal with that other lies that you're telling and all that kind of shit with other people and all that kind of stuff. Say that. But don't lie to yourself. Don't kid yourself. Most people avoid that accountability mirror talk, right? Right. I highly advise and recommend for all to never do that. To always be the realist. Even if you're not ready to be the realist with the world, always be the realist with yourself. There's no going wrong with that, even if you're not acting right. Even if you're not acting right. At least keep it real with why you do what you do, when you do, how you do what you do, when, where, and why. Know that. That's power. The acting part, that's discipline. That's consistency. That's a little bit of self-dedication to achieve results that you envision for yourself, that you know that you have to take active action towards in order to get yourself there for whatever fuck shit reason that has prevented you or kept you from there from before, right? So, whatever. So those that I'm addressing in terms of the state of evolution that you are on, right? In my other video, I was talking about the differences between, and the video was kind of not, it wasn't a great quality of sound. I don't know why it does that. Sometimes, like where you hear some shit, I don't freaking know, but either way, whatever. And then also too, when I record really late like that, I was recording, it was a 2-hour video, the last video, or whatever, and it was really late. I stopped at like 4 something in the morning, and naturally I just, like, it's the energies, right? Most of the world is still asleep on this side of town, so like I'm mindful, like as much as I want to be louder, like, or whatever, I'm fucking softer like this, you know, and it just is what it is. So it also contributes to that ruffling sound or whatever. But I was talking about, so go check that one, okay? Because that was what I was talking about, like long videos with me, like those that watch it from start to finish, if you have the time, if there's for the longer ones and stuff. And then sometimes my videos are really long that you have to cut it in parts, like I don't got time. I do that with many of the readers, like you know, that I listen to, like certain, like there's certain readers that I listen to that I'll listen to, let's say every pick a card pile, because I already am in the practice of discernment. I know that every pile is not for me, but because these readers I'm drawn to, in every pile there's mana for me. I just know what to listen to and what not to listen to. You get what I'm saying? Like, you know, and so I'm not hysterical. Like if all of a sudden in a pile that I'm listening to, I hear some fuck shit energy that does not apply, I'm not going to all of a sudden think, oh my God, it applies to me right now. Like, I'm listening to that, this is about me, hysterical and hysteria and all that kind of shit, or whatever the case may be. But I do know that what is for me, I will know, right? Like, you know what I mean? And so, like, and I resonate with certain readers at different stages and points of my life. Like, you know what I mean? That's like with anybody and everybody. Like, you don't stay in the same position for too long. So, you know, some people might be like, hey, where you been? We haven't seen you at my channel or something like that. Like, let's say, like, you know, I'm not there anymore. You know what I mean? So, and a lot of them have their own niches. Like, and there's different reasons why. Like, there's been many YouTubers that I listen to that it doesn't apply to me, but I like them. So I'll listen to their YouTube video because I like them, you know, their energy. And there'll be pockets of mana in that for me too. Even if they're talking about something and I'm not doing. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and it could throw people off too, and questioning, you know, even me, why am I in their channel, or they're like, you know, like, why is she here? Like, you know, you never know why anybody is doing what they're doing and stuff like that. So that's another thanks, bringing me back to even when I was thinking from before. So we are in a right. So in the video, right, that I did the other night, I was talking about, I hope it's clear enough. I haven't watched all of it back. I tried to do some of the time stamping when I have time and stuff like that in between things, but my assistant's on vacation. Send that out there. They're coming back soon. So right. So I was talking about the leveling of consciousness that we each are on, right? We're heightening our consciousness and our connection to our own awareness and our present time now. Because that's what's being helpful about this whole healing evolution. But the more that you deal with your fields and realize, oh, wow, I do heal, your evolution becomes more real. And certain things just naturally come into format because of the alignment you bring to the table with the actions that you take and stuff like that, right? And so, like I was doing the differences like between a transitionary period, right? So a transitionary period for someone going through a transition, right? They're in new territory of consciousness and awareness, right? That they're learning to be comfortable with and navigate in. So that's a transition, right? Because they're not transformed yet. They're in the transitionary period. They're receiving the download information, epiphany, insight that they're receiving, and now here comes the transitionary period that varies in time for people depending on what it is, who you are, what you're doing, and where you are on in your evolution. So I gave an example about my major instant transformation that occurred with stopping smoking cigarettes. I have it in the other video, my last video, I'll link it and stuff like that, of really quitting, getting a root work, right? That trying to explain the difference between transition and transformation, right? Transition would be someone trying to quit and they're taking all the measures to attempt to quit, but they have yet beat the cessation, the addiction, like, you know, they're working on it. It's a transition, right? Or someone that just learned a whole bunch of truth that became clear to them now life moving forward is the transition, adapting to this information. Or someone coming into a newly married couple, right? The transition is in the living together after, like, you know, they went the traditional route. Like, I don't like to, like, yeah, people, however you do, right? Or having a newborn. The transition part would be transitioning from now, like, being an active parent, like mother, father, whatever. The transition is in the adapting to this new a transition is always going to be from a transformation, right? It's like DNA, like it's going to interconnect. You don't have a transition without a transformation. You don't have a transformation without a transition, period. They're fluid. It's fluid. It's fluidness that works in a nice symmetry, a trine with one another, right? But I'm just highlighting each one because there are differences in that, and within each one there's levels to this shit, right? Of like, and so the example that I was giving in the other video was with the smoking cigarettes, that although with the instant stopping, no more addiction, no more desire, no more want, like it was gone, like complete, like what? Like, oh, what? Hold on, sorry. All right, so let me get to the winding down, right, of this message, right? There's a point to all this, right? So after that transformation, right, it's a transformation now because the transition period of trying to stop, wanting to stop, or not wanting to stop, but having this moment that now it no longer exists, it's transformed, right? Even though that it was transformed because there's no more transitionary period, but there is, right? Because transformation, transition, transformation, it's all fluid, it's all tied. So the example I was giving was that everything starts, like, the only way out is in, right? So there's processes to even transformations. You can say, I'm finally here. But most of the time when we're finally here, most of us are not activated present. We're not accustomed to being activated present, that we're still always looking ahead or behind, or in like you know, present day, right, is a gift, right? Most times people are in, if they're worried, then you're focused on the future. If you're hurting, you're stuck in the past, right? Like, so, like, you know, and if you're neutral, most times you're just trying to get by, and then it cycles again, right? And stuff like that. So, but for those that I'm talking to, right, y'all some evolved, super kind of beings, right? That is you're elevated in consciousness, which is not something that's tangible, so to speak. Like, I can't extract my consciousness and show you how conscious I be, but it'll show itself to you based off of your consciousness too, and where you are in the ability to receive a person like me, you know, anyways, and stuff like that. So, so these processes that occur are depending on what it is, right? So for me, that's a great accomplishment, right? Like, wow, I don't smoke this killer cigarettes anymore, and I no longer desire it either. Like, this is freeing. It's like, I got out of jail card, right? Like, holy shit, that's liberating. It's freeing, right? It's freeing, and that's a good thing. So again, the topic of the unleashing of the transformation is going to be different, right? Like, someone could be free and have just had a divorce, and so the transformation is now you are divorcee, right? And now new life building from there, from this transformed state. You're no longer in the battle, the core, like, transitionary period of getting this shit done or activated and transformed into this state of officiality, like official. It's official, like, in some kind of way, even though everything is fluid, infinite, and expansive. Like, nothing is stuck unless you make it stuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, this too shall pass, right? So everything's always in a transitionary transformation, like, setting. It's like a wave, right? A wave, right? So for this transformed state, it took, and in the video you hear it, like, at least 3 years of mental processing of before actually, like, it's not that same level of shock of like for the, like, let's say for the first 3 years after this transformation occurred, anytime that I was brought to think of it, it was always from, I can't believe I'm smoking, even though the conscious me knows I can believe this is all possible. I'm experiencing it. This is happening. I know the deal. Like, I'm now even more solidified and strengthened in this intangible connection with consciousness, spirit, and all this kind of stuff. But it is tangible because the more consistent and dedicated and disciplined I am to unconditioning my own conditioning and patterns and behaviors, and addressing it and adjusting it based off of my leveling of awakening consciousness, then what's the time? It's because I look at the time and I really have to go. Sorry. I looked at the time in my mind because I didn't look at the time. I'm like, but I saw the time, and now I saw the time, and then whatever. Anyway, right. Everything, you know, time again works differently for everybody, because you can have a major transformation, and the sinking in of that major transformation can be instant too. Again, it depends on the leveling of evolution in you to be. So it's different, right? So for me, because of my connection with understanding that my addiction and knowing the power I felt it had over me in my life, right? And to now be disconnected totally from that prison of a perception and affliction, right? And distorted reality, in this new space of transformation, I don't know it yet. It's new to me, this liberation, this freedom. But first, let me get over the shock of, oh my God, oh my God. So whenever it would come up for like the first 2 years, and if somebody ever asked me or something, I'm like, you know, I always spoke about it from a fresh perspective. So they're like, oh, you just quit? I'm like, no, like even 2 years in, 3 years in, I'm like, no, it's been a while, but I just, you know, because it was still setting in for me. All right, so, and then one day, because this was a evolutionary buildup for me to even be able to articulate it for you now in this now space, right? It's sunk in. The shock is over. And I now accept. And so even though I'm glad and I'm excited or whatever, I'm in a new space of setting from this transformation of acceptance. There's like an acceptance speech of this new reality that took a while for me to adjust to. Bringing me back to what this video is about, okay? So that's where, for those of you that I'm connecting with, you're in a transformation point setting, whatever that is for you. It could be in the development of your personal self-worth, self-love, value. It could be work-related, career-related. It could be creativity created. It could be you going after your dreams. It could be, you know, wherever you are in your evolution of transformation. It means that there's things that where you are on right now that you're not transitioning anymore. You're doing. You're activating. It's here. I'm transformed. I am this being, and it resonates with me. But it's a new setting. So the highlight being addressed here in this video for all of us to just let it marinate and keep Manna for you, right? Is in, I saw a post when I went on Instagram quickly, and it was magnetic in its statement for me. It was an Erica Badu post, but they look like fucking ancestors and just like highly active spirit beings, right? Right? Depicting their inner being, strength and position of power and stuff in a photo that was artistic as fudge. And she wrote, don't be in your thoughts, don't be in your mind, get out of your own head, something like that. But the impact of it in this transformation state is important, because even in a transformed state, right, even in this transformed state, it's new territory for us. So the ground, as solid as it is, because it's going to continue to infinitely grow, because you put in this work too, these seeds that you sow and breed, you know what I mean? Right? It's a new evolution, you know what I mean? And so, but it doesn't make us exempt because of how heightened we are in sensitivity, because of how I feel like in my leveling of consciousness right now of understanding, overstanding, and just heightened awareness, when I started to accept this heightened level of awareness where I was no longer brushing it under the carpet, and I was becoming more public with stuff, and I was becoming more vocal, you know, or just myself everywhere, you know. It was a buildup of personal development, right? What was that? Gotta go. Right, in this transform state, right? Like get out of your own head, right? Right, I find that if you're not grounded, right? Like the first time that I really, me and my sister, because it came from a spiritual, like a legit attack from someone that was involved in spirituality more so in sense of like voodoo, like voodoo, like legit, like our naivety and gullibility to the factors of like they won't take the time to do these kind of things, you know, like fuck that, right? People take the time to do these kind of things, especially if they are a, going back to the beginning of this video, like you're in, like those that I'm tapping into, you're an inspiration. You're in the divine connectivity. You don't need to look outside yourself to create. You are a creator, right? These people look outside themselves to find motivation, inspiration to make replicas and things like that, or manufactured things that are not from their divinity of creativity. They're copycats, right? Um, so in that like light of truth, right? What was that one? Very warm, right? While you're waiting, are you not waiting? No, you're waiting, right? But in the light of truth of these things too, like you're you, right? Okay, let me get my like whatever face back, okay? Here's doing this, okay? That's how important this message is. Like, right? Thank you. Right. So over time, what you learn to do is navigate from this new spaces of transition, transformation, territory, right? So in your own spiritual development of being a heightened sensitive, like for me, I got knocked down from being a channel, an open channel from little, which I'm very grateful that my mom got to help me through before she passed away, because I got to receive the motherly nurturing of a mother's love to my psychosis at that time. That was a lot to handle, so it was overload. I didn't enjoy the experience because it was coming in from everywhere. I just wanted it to stop. Then as an adult, you know, and because you're activated to whatever, we are also conditioned to avoid certain things and to disregard and to brush under and all this kind of stuff. So because I am the way that I am, and I had ambitions, goals, and other kind of things, those things took precedence, don't you understand, over my spiritual life, even though I am and have always been spiritual. You get it? Like right now, this is my like this has always been my lifestyle, but I'm in everything, career, business wise, like personal, like all of it. Before I was still earthly bound, like fashion industry, dealing with like a lot of like all this other kind of superficiality energies. And not saying that I don't deal with those kind of things here, but it's on a different kind of scale to a degree. Like, you know what I mean? So anyways, because I you know, anyways, still work with other people. So so we're not exempt just because we're involved from all these things occurring. And the more heightened you are and the more sensitive, like the more awakened and conscious you are, you can't ignore it. Like it's just, it has nothing to do with like you're prying for it, you're not fishing for it. Like all these these battles, like right now, of the nasty vibes I receive from other kind of people that before personalizing, right? Like going through the transition of of realizing these energies and having to accept them, and then now, well, what's my position in this kind of stuff? Like, well, now, like, no, now we put a stop to this. Now we're setting up boundaries. Now we're like, taking it, like noticing, like, and really like whatever. And we can make like somebody that I know, I'm not gonna say who because that person would be upset if I said who, if I identify, so I'm not, has said in a jokingly manner about someone that they spoke to again during this Mercury retrograde season, that they knew better, but they said, I had a weak moment. And then after talking to that person, seeing the unchanged behavior of that person and the way that they are, their caption for that experience was like, I had a weak moment of talking to them again. Like, right. Because it's still a transitionary moment, transition that you're learning from. So it doesn't mean that you don't, it doesn't mean that you, it doesn't mean that you're exempt from having the awareness of the stuff that's still happening. And it doesn't mean that you do the right thing. You do the right thing. That's the difference between you and many. Like, you do the right thing. You do what's right for the whole. Granted, right? That's your act. That's your movement. I do what's right. Right? That's justice. Despite how I might feel about whatever, or despite how my conditioning would react to you on another different day. How'd you catch me 15 years ago, 20 years ago, with that same tone and shit. You may have gotten a different version of me in response to you right now, right? So transition, transformation. And your transformation doesn't mean that you don't experience those everything, because you're heightened, you're sensitive, you're still in this, right? So the caption, Eric Badu, like, get out of your thoughts, because remember, thoughts are also conditioning imprints, and in our consciousness, in our awakening, we're realizing that sometimes a lot of the thoughts that we have held on to were not even ours, right? So get out of your head right now, right? In certain handlings of this now time and transformation, right? So it's like dealing. So in this transformed state, right, you are in your present power, right? And you're learning this new positioning, right? So here, real quick, because I really have to go. Pluto in Aquarius in the 8th house. The need for control of genius to experiment with personal power, right? So that's what is happening here in this transformation state. You are executing your power. You are executing your boundary. You are in this transformed, alchemized alignment, right? That has you acting in alchemy to you, right? Master alchemist is you, right? In obsession with the discoveries of the mysteries of life, a power struggle resulting from the eccentricity of a major change. So this is a major change, right? This is a major change that has transformed in your life where you're at now, and there's still things that have yet to come to you that technically you're here to receive. You're open to receive. You're receiving the abundance, the prosperity in different kind of ways. It doesn't mean that there's not things happening that are getting eliminated or removed and stuff like that to make the space to open it up for you and stuff like that. So there's things that you instinctively, intuitively, spiritually know your ships are coming in, things are coming in, right? So resurrect your vision as a life or death issue. So now what's happening in this transformation state is resurrecting this vision that you have, that this quest that you're on, this thing that you're doing, and these moves that you're making, right? From this transformed state of being. Be careful with your thoughts, if you know what I mean, in terms of acting. Right, so get to the heart of what's new and different about getting and using power. So it's a learning stage, period. of this execution of new transformation power that is you, right? Do or die, you must use an unconventional way and use other people's resources, right? So using any kind of opposition that you are receiving right now, or that you might have to be still dealing with during this transformation state, because now in this transformation state, it's you see, you know, and now you do. If you don't, then you're still transitioning. That's to know where you are. Are you in a transition or are you transformed? Transformers do from their transformed state. Transitionary stages, right? You're learning the ropes. You know what I mean? So split down here. So things are coming in great for you. Even in states, it's a matter of perception and things like that. But I do have to go. I hope that this resonates with you wonderfully, beautifully, and every kind of way. If you have any questions, it's a great opportunity to like this, to comment, let me know, because when I come back, when I can, when I do, how I do, when I do, whenever I do, hit that notification bell too, because once you hit that notification bell, guess what? You know when I upload, because it's never on a consistency of, I'm consistent in my uploads because I do YouTube a lot, but not in a calendar setting. You know what I'm saying? All right, so thank you so much, because I really gotta go.